Let's start with candidate A. You have 2 minutes. You can begin now.
Good morning to the examiners. I think that clean water supply should be provided. As we know, water is very important. According to the science survey that human body, 70% of water is made up. Human body is 70% made up of water, and human cannot living without water only within 3 days. So we know water is very important for our survival human. So we believe that after the disaster, mostly water will be polluted. The water supply, like from the river, the well, the lake. So human cannot use the dirty water for their drinking. Because if they use the dirty water, they will get some illness like food poisoning, suffer from disease, or even die due to the hydration. So besides that, water is important for victims after the disaster because the water can use for the victim as a domestic water like daily general drinking water, medical necessary because they need the doctor or the nurses need the water for clean the wounds, even use the water for surgery, and also the water is important for the victims for a general or temporary food, or else the victims will be starving, like they need to use the clean water to cook the food that need the water like rice, milo, and so on. And also the water is very important for the victim because especially for the babies, they need the water to boil the water and then use for the milk to give the babies. So the most important is the water must be clean. If the water is poisonous, there will be more issues or humans problems will come out. As just now I say that the food poisoning, food suffer from disease and many problems. So what if the water is not clean? The victims forced to use the dirty or the poisonous water for surviving. So the government will be pay more to recovering the victims.
Okay, stop. Alright, candidate B, you have 2 minutes. You can start now.
Good morning to the examiner and the fellow candidate. In my opinion, I think that basic food items should be provided. After the natural disaster, all the food supply will destroy like the paddy field, market, and so on. After 7 days, if within food, the victims will die of starvation. So food is important to everyone of the victim. Without food, all the victims will live in a poor condition and their health will also face problems. As a member of the relief committee, we can give some biscuits, rice, cake, flour, bread, fresh fruit, vegetable for the victim of the disaster. For the adult, if does not have food, they will loss of energy to do many things. They need energy to help to clear up the mess after disaster. Be a volunteer to help the relief committee to save the victims that haven't found out. They need to cheer up their family and bring positive thinking to their family. For the children, if they are given basic food items, they will feel lovely. They can survive and grow in a good condition, and they will also not feeling depressed and hopeless. Just a little bit help by giving food to them, but for them, we are bringing hope and love to them again. If they are not hungry, they can do things well and can build their house again. For the baby, milk powder is the main important thing to them for survive and grow normally. Give vitamin for the elderly to improve their immune system. And the volunteer can cook food together with the volunteer for the victims. All the victims will feel that they live in a big family. Volunteer at night, many of the victims will feel cold because they live in a big hall and some of them does not have the blanket that provided. So volunteer can prepare hot drinks for the victim like Milo, tea, and so on to make the victim feel warm at night.
Okay, stop. Candidate C, you have 2 minutes. You may start now.
Good morning to examiners and fellow candidates. In my opinion, I think that medical supplies should be provided. And the victims of the disaster need the medical supplies such as the antibiotic, paracetamol, aspirin, plaster, bandages, iodine solution, and the doctor tools. And the children are easier to get sick and injured because their immune system is body defense system is not so good. and they do not know what to do during the disaster. So if they're injured or sick, they need the medical supply immediately to prevent them from getting more serious and can cure easily. The people may also injured, so they also need the medical supply so that they do not feel pain and uncomfortable. When they are cured, they can also become the volunteers to help the doctor to carry the patient through. For the people that is seriously injured, they need the doctor to help them to wash the wound and bandage the wound. If they don't have the medical supply, the disease will spread to others and cause other people sick also. The nurse also can help the doctors to treat the patient so that the patient won't no need to wait so long for the doctor to treat them. Some of the people may also suffer from the bone cracks already. So the doctor need the equipment such as the X-ray to know how their condition, whether the wound is serious or not.
Okay, stop. Candidate D, you can start now.
Good morning to the examiners and fellow candidates. In my opinion, I think that temporary housing should be provided for the victims. After the disaster, most of the buildings like schools and houses are destroyed. Everything is cleared, and the victims need a place to stay and a shelter, a place to sleep and rest. A temporary houses will protect them from the hot sun, rain, cold air at night, and in other countries like they're having the winter season, it protects them from the snow. And temporary housing also a place where to gather the children who have lost their parents. Besides that, a temporary housing set up by the government, such as the huge tents for the victims in the open field, provides a space for the victims to eat, drink, sleep, play, study, rest, and wash. And besides that, the family needs privacy, and also for them to keep their things like properties, clothes, monies, and this will ensure their safety. And for medical, the doctors need a clean place to do surgery, such as the fracture, and they need a comfortable conditions for them so that the doctors and the nurses can perform their work. And besides that, the victims need a place to recover, and temporary houses also act as a temporary hospitals for the victims to recover from their wounds. On the other hand, if they do not have a house for them, the victims do not have place to sleep and they cannot rest. The victims who have injured will suffer from sickness, and it may cause a huge damage which may bring death. Besides that, if the victims do not have a place to rest, the injuries will become serious.
Okay, stop.